Good evening, one and all present over here. It's indeed a pleasure to welcome you all on the day 4 of the batch 4 of the mentor development program. Successfully, we have completed the 4. Like today, we will be completing 4 batches of this great program for 3 days. We had different trainers. The day one was Dr. Ravi Kumar sir. The day two was Professor Nada Ratkovic. She's from Croatia. Day three, yesterday we had Dr. Srividya Sukumaran. She is from UAE. So like we have everyday different trainers. Today it's indeed my pleasure to welcome the International Internship Universities, the core team member, the president of World Education Policy, Dr. Virginia Rivera. She's from Puerto Rico. So I would like her, if you will see her profile is very big because she is really a very eminent personality. But still, I'll try my best to introduce herself in a better manner. Dr. Virginia Rivera, she's a social entrepreneur, a certified business mentor, coach, and consultant, a media proprietor with more than 20 years as a corporate and a business leader. As the current president of WEP, World Education Policy, she truly believes in the power of education to uplift, empower, and prepare us for a sustainable future. So, indeed, that's so true. So, in spite of her very busy schedule, she is today with us. Thank you, Virginia. In
Thank you so much.
2020, thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah. In 2023, she became a part of the business conglomerate Piyush Group as a vice president and the social initiatives of the group, which includes International Internship University, James International School, Future Ratna Preschool, and the first Metro E-Village in Kunda, India. In 2016, she co-founded the international NGO ME Latina, whose mission is to provide free business and entrepreneurial education to all the women and help them to start their own business in order to attain their economic autonomy. More than 3,000 business founders have been assisted in starting and growing their businesses. Indeed, a wonderful initiative. Great work for the woman. Since then, Virginia has established 4 different business programs under her brand Solapreneurs in PR USA, Peru, and very soon in India. She also created a financial literacy program for children from 4 to 8 years called My First Lemonade Stand. Her motto is education can break barriers, challenges, inequalities, and create a brighter and more equitable world. Now, I take the privilege to read her, you will get to know after this how well qualified and educated she is. She has done her Bachelor of Fine Arts, major in dance and dance therapy from Columbia College of Chicago, postgraduate degree in culinary arts and food and beverage management from the Chicago Cooking Academy, MBA specialization in entrepreneurship and innovation from Singapore Business School, doctorate in philosophy and leadership on women's economic empowerment from Universidad de Venezuela, certified as a life coach with the International Coaching Federation, certified as a business leadership coach with the Universidad Enovac, Mexico, certified as an entrepreneur's mentor developed by Georgia Tech. My God, if you will see, there are so many things to tell about her, and it's our proud privilege to have her today on our international internship, that is IIU platform. So, on behalf of the entire team of IIU, I welcome you here. Yes, certainly you are also IIU. I welcome you here, and I would like to add on. This batch is a very special for me because all are so active. They are very keen to ask the questions. So hope you all could ask so many questions today at the end of our session. So with a round of applause, let's welcome Dr. Virginia Rivera. Dear
Uh,
Virginia, the stage is all yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Snigdha. The admiration is mutual, and thank you for your kind words. I want to welcome everyone wherever you are in the world. Today we're taking module 5 and 6 of the certification course from the Global Trainers webinar program. My name, as Dr. Singa said before, is Virginia Rivera, and I come to you from a tiny little island in Puerto Rico in the Caribbean. I will be discussing with you very, very important topics: ethics and the code of conduct, and also the prerequisites. These are very important for global trainers because it will make sure that you uphold professionalism, respect cultural diversity, maintain integrity, comply with regulations, and foster ongoing professional development. As you know, we all come to you from IIU's Global Certifications Platform. IIU is the leading virtual education system and global brand confederation. It's renowned for its innovative programs such as this one. Under the visionary leadership of its founder, Mr. Piyush Pandit, he's a dedicated social activist and passionate educationist. IIU has rapidly expanded its reach, establishing a presence in 195 countries across 6 continents. We are thrilled to be able to reach you every single day. And as I always say, if you have fingertips and a device, you will be able to learn anything you want, anywhere you want. And that is thanks to IIU and its global vision. So today, we're going to be discussing probably the driest of all the topics, the ethics and the code of conduct and the prerequisites. But also, if we don't have these, we would not have, I would say, the backbone of really being a great global career coordinator. So let's go ahead and see if we can pass this. Introduction to Module 5. What is the importance of ethics and code of conduct in training is really significant as they provide a framework for professional behavior and ensure a safe and respectful learning environment. So what is ethics and what is it referred to? Ethics are our moral principles and values that guide individual actions and decisions. And this is so important because as you go around the world as a global trainer, you most likely will be acting alone, or you will be part of a company or corporation that will hire you. So it is so important that you are very definitive and clear on what your principles are and what your values are. In the context of this training, ethics involves upholding integrity, honesty, and fairness in all aspects of the training process. It includes treating participants with respect, maintaining confidentiality, and avoiding conflicts of interest. A code of conduct is a set of guidelines that allows expected behavior and standards for conduct for all the trainers. So this means you as a trainer, maybe people will not know that you have this code of conduct, but it's very important that you know what your code of conduct is. It serves as a reference point for trainers to understand their responsibilities and obligations. It's a code of conduct helps establish a professional and ethical culture within the training environment. The reasons why ethics and code of conduct are so important in training: number one, professionalism. Ethics and code of conduct promote professionalism among trainers. They set expectations for trainers to act with integrity, competence, and accountability. Also, participants' trust. When you have an ethics and code of conduct, you build trust between trainers and participants. When trainers adhere to these ethical principles and they demonstrate professionalism, participants feel confident in their expertise and they trust their guidance.
Hello.
Yes? Please join, please join. It also promotes a safe learning environment. Ethics and code of conduct create a safe and inclusive learning environment. They ensure that all participants are treated with respect and dignity, regardless of their background or the characteristics. We continue with the reasons why. Number 4, confidentiality. Ethics and code of conduct emphasize the importance of maintaining participants' confidentiality. Trainers must respect the privacy of participants and protect their personal information. Avoiding biases and discrimination. Ethics and code of conduct helps trainers avoid biases and discrimination. Trainers should treat all participants fairly and equally, regardless of their race, their gender, their religion, or any other particular characteristic. Handling ethical dilemmas, and this can happen. Ethics and code of conduct provide guidance on how to handle ethical dilemmas which may arise during training. Trainers can refer to the code of conduct to make ethical decisions and resolve these conflicts effectively. So, ethical guidelines for trainers. Number one, maintain confidentiality of participant information. And we mentioned this because many times you will be the only person representing your corporation or yourself when you're going to do some type of freelance corporate training around the world. You will be privy to information that is only given to you. So we need to make sure that you only use this information for the purpose that you are adhered to, not use it for your own benefit or actually sell it for a third party. So this is why it is so important for us to really become what our ethical guidelines are. Avoid conflicts of interest. So again, if you know that you're representing a certain company and you're getting certain information that is confidential for you, you should not share it with anybody. And I also want to highlight that if you got any type of information and you share this, that's an illegal tip, and that actually could be handled in a prosecution. Treat all participants with respect and fairness. Professional conduct in training sessions. Another part of the ethical guidelines is to be punctual and prepared for each session. If you join a session and you're not prepared, your participants will not understand, number one, because your thoughts will not be well organized. And if you're not on time, you're setting up yourself so that your people will actually not show up on time for your next or future participations. Use inclusive language and avoid discriminatory behavior. Encourage open and respectful communication. Ethical dilemmas in training. What could happen? Let's look at this. So case studies, we're going to talk about case studies and discussion. We're going to have a scenario one, which is dealing with a participant who consistently disrupts the training. And we're going to have a scenario two, handling sensitive topics and maintaining a safe learning environment. So how are we going to handle this ethical issue in training? We're going to establish clear guidelines and expectations at the beginning of this training. We're going to address ethical issues promptly and directly, and we're going to seek guidance from supervisors or maybe even supervisors at the company that we're going to be working for or their ethics committee if we actually need it. So many times we may not be able to make this decision on our own, and we may need to reach out if needed. Ethical dilemmas can arise in training when trainers are faced with situations that require them to make difficult decisions that may have ethical implications. And here are the two common scenarios that we discussed before and the suggestions on how to handle them. So scenario one is dealing with a participant who consistently disrupts the training. So what are the ethical considerations here? Number one, treating all participants with respect and fairness. So if you have a participant that is always interrupting and is not allowing somebody else to understand, then not all participants are being respected and being fair with them. Also, maintaining a safe and inclusive learning environment for all participants. So steps to handle this ethical dilemma. Number one, establish clear guidelines and expectations at the beginning of your training. Clearly communicate the expected behavior and conduct during the training sessions. Emphasize the importance of respect, active participation, and maintaining a positive learning environment. I think the most important thing that we can capture in this first step is to establish clear guidelines and the expectations that you're going to need throughout the entire training. And you need to do this at the very beginning. Number two, you're going to address the disruptive behavior promptly and directly. If a participant consistently disrupts the training, address the issue privately and respectfully. Express concern about the impact of this behavior on the learning experience for themselves and for others. Provide an opportunity for the participant to share their perspective and address any underlying issues. As you see, we are in a situation, I'm going to give you an example. We see that this participant has disrupted the class 3 times. Don't let it happen any longer. You call them aside, you can give a break, a bathroom break, and you talk to them promptly. You may want to ask them why they're doing this. There may be an issue. It may be that they can't listen or they can't see you. May also be that this particular participant has a condition, maybe like ADD or what they call now ADHD, and we can actually accommodate them. Maybe we didn't know prior, but now remember, we're going to be dealing with a lot of people. So we need to know why they may think that they're having this particular behavior. And then we want to explain to them how their behavior is impacting the rest of the class and not only the rest of the training, but also how it's going to impact their learning ability. So in this scenario one, we can offer an alternative solution. If the disruptive behavior continues despite addressing it directly, consider offering alternative solutions. This could include providing additional resources or support to help the participant engage in a more productive manner. If necessary, involve supervisors or higher level management to address this issue. I always say never be the bad guy, especially if you are coming as a third party or you're a freelance person, or you're coming as a professional service render. Try not to be the bad guy. You already had the conversation in the most polite and ethical way. If you need to go higher up, make sure that you have the context for the people that are going to be in charge of the situation. And this may be the supervisors of the department that you are actually training for. And address the issue with them and let them take care of it. Because if you're going to be coming back, you don't want to be a bad guy. And number two, if you're going to be offering more training during this week, it's not going to be conducive to a peaceful environment. So let's talk now about the scenario two. Handling sensitive topics and maintaining a safe learning environment. So what are the ethical considerations here? Number one, respecting participants' diverse backgrounds and perspectives. Number two, creating a safe and inclusive space for discussion on sensitive topics. Remember that as global trainers, we are going to create a safe zone. So whatever happens during our training is really up to us and the participants. So this is very, very important. Steps to handle this ethical dilemma. Establish clear guidelines from discussing sensitive topics. You actually are going to do this at the beginning, right? When you're discussing the guidelines for any ethical situation. Before addressing sensitive topics, establish ground rules for respectful and inclusive discussions. Emphasize the importance of listening to different perspectives, maintaining confidentiality, and avoiding personal attacks. Create a safe learning environment. I think of all what I'm going to be talking about this scenario, I think this is the most important one. If everybody feels safe in their learning environment, things will move accordingly. If we're not feeling safe and we're not feeling respected, and we don't feel that maybe our diversity or what we're bringing, and we don't feel included, then we will not have a space that is going to accept our resolution for this ethical issue. So I think it's really important that you create a safe environment. And how do we do this? We foster an atmosphere of trust and respect where participants feel comfortable sharing their thoughts and experiences. If by any chance, when they are speaking, people start to smile, laugh, or make any type of comment, you can stop right there the training and just address it directly. Say, we will ask for comments at the end of the session. Right now, we just want to listen to this participant. You need to always address it in the moment. Encourage open dialogue while ensuring that participants feel safe and supported. Also, you want to address any inappropriate or offensive comments, like I said. And this is going to happen, and this is why you need to be prepared. When a participant makes an inappropriate or offensive comment during the discussion on sensitive topics, address the issue, like I said, immediately. Immediately. Don't wait to see if they're going to do it again. You need to take care of it in the moment. It may actually even be funny. You know, sometimes we think it's humorous, but at the expense of who? So even if it's funny for you, you still have to address it immediately. Remind participants of the established guidelines and the importance of respectful communication. Redirect this conversation back to a constructive and inclusive discussion. And you can actually have a setup of an idea of if something like this happens where you're interrupted abruptly or you're interrupted by somebody who's being very negative, what am I going to do in order to bring it back on course? That is something that we can do prior. So if we're in the heat of the moment or we're nervous or something is happening, you can actually take control of the group immediately. When you seek guidance from supervisor or ethics committee, it's needed. And I have to say this again. If you continue to have that person who is smirking, who is making a negative remark, who is really making everyone laugh when somebody is trying to be serious, you need to get higher up information. Do not be the bad guy. You already addressed it the first time, you get a second opinion. You get somebody who is actually going to be able to deal with them in human resources. And that's a different scenario. In complex situations, or if you're unsure of how to handle a specific ethical issue, seek guidance from your supervisor or the ethics committee. They can provide additional support, advice, and guidance on how to navigate the ethical dilemma effectively. Please remember, ethical dilemmas can be challenging. There may be not always a clear-cut solution. And I think this is very important. Many times, somebody in that party is not going to be 100% happy. Maybe because they feel that their comments were not addressed appropriately, or because we're not seeing it with their own eyes or from their perspective the way they would want us to. The truth is that may happen. Just try to be and approach this with empathy, with fairness, and a commitment to creating a positive and inclusive learning environment. So many times you can say, I understand where you're coming from. It doesn't mean that I agree, and this is very important. We don't say, I agree with you, right? We say, I understand where you're coming from, or I understand that this may bring feelings. And you let them know and you validate what they're saying. It doesn't mean that you're agreeing. Okay, very important. The importance of code of conduct. What are the components of a code of conduct? A statement of purpose and values, guidelines for professional behavior, reporting mechanisms for ethical concerns, developing a code of conduct for trainers, involve trainers and stakeholders in the development of this process, review and revise the code regularly to ensure relevance, provide training and resources to promote understanding and adherence. So this is probably the simplest of a component of a code of conduct, but I would say don't have any less than these components. So again, we go back to why is it important to have this code of conduct? Because it's going to be a set of guidelines that outlines expected behavior of your trainers. It plays a crucial role in training as it helps establish a professional and ethical culture within this training environment. Here's some reasons why the code of conduct is important in training. It clarifies expectations, and I think that the majority of the problems that we may have in a corporate environment is when our expectations are not clear. The code of conduct provides trainers with clear expectations regarding their professional behavior. It outlines the standards and values that trainers should uphold during their training sessions. It promotes professionalism. The code of conduct promotes professionalism among trainers. It sets a standard for trainers to act with integrity, competence, and accountability in their interactions with participants and colleagues. Here are some of the reasons why the code of conduct is important in training. Number 3, we had the first 2. It ensures consistency. So the code of conduct ensures consistency in the delivery of training program. You are a global trainer. You will establish training programs all over the world. And this is the reason why you want to make sure that when people know you and they know your work, they know that you're always going to be consistent in all of your programs. It establishes a common set of guidelines that all trainers should follow, regardless of their individual backgrounds or training style. It also creates a safe learning environment. The code of conduct helps create a safe and inclusive learning environment for participants. It sets guidelines for respectful and inclusive behavior, ensuring that all participants feel valued and respected during the training sessions. Number 5, it also addresses ethical concerns. The code of conduct includes reporting mechanisms for ethical concerns. It provides a framework for trainers to report any ethical issues or violations they observe or experience during this training. This helps address and resolve ethical problems, situations, concerns in a timely and appropriate manner. Again, so when we talk about the components of a code of conduct, statement of purpose and values. The code of conduct should include a clear statement of purpose and the values that trainers are expected to uphold. This will set the foundation for ethical behavior and guides the trainers in their conduct. So if you don't give them a code of conduct with what they're going to uphold, they're never going to know how to behave. Guidelines for professional behavior. The code of conduct should outline specific guidelines for professional behavior, such as treating participants with respect, maintaining their confidentiality, avoiding conflicts of interest, and using inclusive language. Also, it should have reporting mechanisms for ethical concerns. The code of conduct should provide clear instructions on what the trainer has to do in order to report any ethical concerns or violations. This ensures that the ethical issues are addressed and resolved appropriately. So how are we going to develop a code of conduct for these trainings? It involves trainers and stakeholders in the development process. It is important to involve trainers and the relevant stakeholders in the process of this code of conduct. This ensures that the code reflects the values and expectations of the training organization and it's relevant to the specific training context. Again, we need not only involve the trainers, but we also need to bring those stakeholders, those that are probably going to be the supervisors or the support system that's going to support this training program. Review and revise the code regularly to ensure its relevance. The code of conduct should be reviewed and updated regularly to ensure that it remains relevant and aligned with the changing ethical standards and organizational values. So, for example, things happen and change daily. In the corporate environment, some things may be approved that probably before were not approved, especially when it comes to employee handbooks. We need to be updating all the time. I'm going to give you one example so you keep in mind. A lot of companies for a long time, and let me say, I'm going to talk about America, where I'm from, did not allow tattoos to be used by any employee. And if you had a tattoo, it had to be covered. Nowadays, I would say probably 75% of the companies in America allow tattoos as long as these are not on the face and they don't have vulgar words or bad words. So, and or any vulgar insinuation. Also, it should never include religion. It should never include politics. So as you can see, if we just leave the employee handbook and the training the way with an obsolete employee handbook, then we would not know that now we are accepting employees with tattoos that have to fit this criteria. Provide training and resources to promote understanding and adherence. Adherence is that it is followed. So the only reason we want a code of conduct and the only reason it could be useful is if people understand it and they actually carry it out. Trainers should receive training and resources to help them understand and adhere to the code of conduct. This could include workshops, training sessions, and ongoing support to ensure that trainers are equipped to uphold the standard. In summary, the code of conduct is important in training as it clarifies expectations, promotes professionalism, creates a safe learning environment, addresses ethical concerns, and ensures consistency in training delivery. It includes components such as a statement of purpose and values, guidelines for professional behavior, and reporting mechanisms for ethical concerns. Developing a code of conduct involves trainers and the stakeholders regularly reviewing and revising this code to make sure that it's relevant, and providing training and resources to promote understanding and adherence. Let me give you a code of conduct example. Best practices for trainer. Maintain confidentiality of participant information. Foster an inclusive and respectful learning environment. Continuously update and improve training material. Ensuring compliance with the code of conduct. Regularly assess trainers' adherence to the code. Provide feedback and support for improvement. Address violations promptly and fairly. So let's go over a recap of what we discussed now in Module 5. These are the key takeaways. Number 1, ethics and code of conduct are essential in training to maintain professionalism and create a safe learning environment. Number 2, trainers should be aware of the ethical guidelines and handle ethical dilemmas effectively. Number 3, developing and following a code of conduct promotes ethical behavior and accountability. So that is a very important module. And like I said before, these may be very arid themes and topics, but they're so important because they're medular. They're so key to really being the best global trainer that you can. Module 6. Now we're going to move into prerequisites. Prerequisites are the knowledge, the skills, or the qualifications required for participants to successfully engage in a training program. Understanding and addressing prerequisites is essential for designing effective training programs and ensuring that participants have the necessary foundation to benefit from the training. I think that in order for us to understand the prerequisites, when Dr. Snigdha was reading what I have done before, tells a little bit of the story of the reason why I'm here with you today. In this training, in this global training program, but also let me just say a little bit about, and I think this is always going to help. I have been a corporate trainer with a Fortune 500 company around the United States, and I have to say that very many times, again and again, as we discussed before, the conduct of ethical and the review were not really followed, and a lot of issues arise. So this is the reason why this is an important topic for you to have. And I think it's really great that it's probably one of the last ones because it will stay fresh in your mind. Okay, so why are we going to be handling prerequisites in training? Ensures participant readiness. Prerequisites help ensure that participants are adequately prepared and have the necessary knowledge and skills to engage in the training program. This readiness enhances their ability to comprehend and apply the training content effectively. It also maximizes learning outcome, which is what we want when we train. By establishing prerequisites, trainers can ensure that participants have a baseline level of knowledge and skills. This allows trainers to build upon that foundation and deliver more advanced and targeted training content. As a result, participants can achieve a higher level of learning and skill development. It also saves time and resources. Prerequisites help trainers avoid spending time on basic concepts or skills that participants should already have or possess. By assuming a certain level of knowledge and skills, trainers can focus on more advanced or specialized content, making the training more efficient and effective, and probably less boring for those that already know this information. So it's really important that we pre-qualify and pre-screen prior to, because that way we know if, it doesn't mean that a person, if they don't have the prerequisites now, can't take this training later, but they're probably going to have to be with another training group, or they may have to go through prerequisites before addressing this. It also enhances participant engagement. When participants have the necessary prerequisites, they are more likely to actively engage in the training because they understand what you're talking about. They can follow along with the content, they can contribute to discussions, and apply their existing knowledge and skills to the training activities. This particular engagement leads to a more meaningful and impactful learning experience. And this is what we want. When we are training, we want to make sure that they're engaged, and that once they leave because they went through it and it was experiential for them, they're actually being impacted by the learning experience. So, what is the definition of a prerequisite? It refers to the knowledge, and I already talked about this, the skill or the qualification that somebody will have prior to joining your training. Examples of prerequisites can include basic computer literacy skills for a particular software training program. Also, prior experience in customer service for a customer service training workshop, or a certain level of proficiency in a specific language for a language learning course. So, if you are going to be trained in something that's in French, and you don't know the language, and we didn't do our prerequisite assessment correctly, you are going to be so very lost because you do not have this. Identifying and communicating prerequisites. So, number one, how do we identify the prerequisite? Trainers need to identify the specific knowledge, the skill, or the qualifications that participants should have before enrolling in the training. Remember that as global trainers, you are going to be training the trainer in many topics and many aspects. So you want to make sure that you can help these trainers identify the specific knowledge and skills that they're going to use. This can be done through needs assessment, surveys, discussions with stakeholders. And why do you talk with the stakeholder? The stakeholder is probably the person who's hiring you or your training organization, and they have some goals in mind that we need to know and their objectives. If we don't discuss with them, then we're not apples to apples, and we may not have the people ready as they need them. Communicate prerequisites clearly. Trainers should clearly communicate prerequisites to potential participants. This can be done through training program descriptions, registration forms, or direct communication with participants. So we can actually do it when we invite them to participate. We can actually do this when they're actually in the form section, filling out the form, or we can actually call them or send them an email or a text, letting them know what we're going to need from them prior to joining our training. Clear communication helps manage expectations, and it ensures that participants are aware of the requirements before committing to the training. It also provides resources for prerequisite development. If participants do not meet the prerequisite, trainers can provide resources or recommendations for participants to develop the necessary knowledge or skills. This can include online resources, free training materials, or suggestions for external courses or programs. In summary, prerequisites are the knowledge, the skills, or the qualifications required for participants to successfully engage in a training program. And many times this may just be the pool of people that you have. And this is why it's also important to know how to train them if they don't have the prerequisites in order, because this may just be the people that you're going to have to use. So that is why it is key that we understand what it is that we're going to need. They are important because they ensure participant readiness, maximize learning outcomes, save time and resources, and enhance participant engagement. Trainers should identify and communicate these prerequisites clearly and provide resources for participants to develop the necessary prerequisite knowledge or skills. So what we mean about this is, if by any chance we only have people that they know a certain language, we want to make sure that at least they know the basics of this language, right? So that is key. So key topics covered in Module 6. We talked about identifying the prerequisites for training program, conduct a needs assessment to determine the required prerequisites, consult subject matter experts and stakeholders for their input, assessing participants' prerequisites. That means getting their information. So you sent out a form, you sent out a survey. You want to know also, you want to read this before. Use pre-training assessments to evaluate that participants' existing knowledge and skills, and identify any gaps or areas for improvement. So the gap is what they know and what you're going to teach. So what is in between that is actually the gap that we're going to have to help them be ready for. So when they actually join the training session, they'll understand like everybody else. Adjusting training programs based on prerequisites. By addressing the prerequisites in training, trainers can ensure that participants have the necessary foundation to engage in the training program effectively. This leads to a more meaningful and impactful learning experience and maximizes the overall training outcome. How do we prepare participants for training? We address the prerequisite gaps. We provide pre-training resources or materials to bridge these gaps. We offer additional training or support for participants who need it. We provide additional resources and support. We share relevant reading materials, online resources, or tutorials, and we offer mentoring or coaching opportunities for participants. How do we conduct a pre-training assessment? We administer assessments or surveys to identify participants' existing knowledge and skills. What does this mean? You're going to have assessments or surveys prior to training, so you can actually give them out and you know what they know. Use the assessment results to tailor the training content and delivery to meet the participants' needs. You need to offer the pre-training workshop or sessions. So you realize that not everybody has the same proficiency in Excel. It's a computer program, a software program. So you're going to give basics to all. So you're going to make sure that you are offering the pre-training of the actual training so they can all be at the same level when it's time for your workshop or your training. Provide pre-training workshops or sessions to cover essential concepts or skills that participants may be lacking. These sessions can help participants build a foundation before the actual training program begins. And let me give you a small example. My organization has a group of 650 women in Peru, in South America. These are entrepreneurs that have never been in a formal environment. So if we were going to give them an entrepreneurs workshop boot camp, we needed to make sure that they had basic knowledge of the entrepreneurial language because we were going to be training a lot of other startup people, entrepreneurs. So we needed to give them 2 weeks prior to the beginning a session on vocabulary and just different terms so they could understand and be at the same level once they join. And you know what? It worked. So this is why conducting a pre-training assessment is so important. When you provide pre-training materials and resources, you need to develop and distribute pre-training materials such as reading materials, videos, or online resources. These resources can help participants familiarize themselves with the training topics and concepts in advance, offering pre-training support, provide opportunities for participants to ask questions or seek clarification. And I think that many times we forget about the questions and answers. We also forget giving our participants, maybe if we're going to do a pre-training, an email where they can actually send their questions to, or just have a question and answer, the most popular question and answers already ready so they can actually look for their question. Offer support channels such as email, discussion forums, or virtual office hours for participants to access assistance. How do we facilitate this peer-to-peer learning? And I think that's probably one of the best ways to do it. Encourage participants to connect with each other before the training program starts. A lot of this is now happening in chat groups, right? In WhatsApp groups. We create the group at the very beginning, and if there are any questions or doubts, then they actually discuss amongst themselves. We create online communities or discussion groups where participants can share resources, ask questions, and learn from each other. By preparing participants for training through pre-training assessments, workshops, materials, and support, trainers can ensure that participants have the necessary knowledge and the skills to fully engage in the training program. This preparation enhances their learning experience and increases the likelihood of achieving desired training outcome. So I don't know if you ever experienced a training program. Many times they're great. You're interested because you're starting something new. You're interested because it's a brand new software. But many times we've taken the same trainings again and again because they have to be given out by law. The government actually requests that we do this, and it becomes very boring. So as trainers, we need to make sure that we are providing all the information that we know if these people have taken this before and if there are any gaps in that training. And also, how can we make it better for them so they can actually really learn what we're trying to teach them and train them with? So, the prerequisite assessment tools. Examples of these assessment tools could be knowledge quizzes or tests, skill demonstrations or simulations, pre-training surveys or questionnaires, using technology for prerequisite assessment. That's using any program, any app, any software, online assessments or self-paced modules, and virtual simulations or interactive exercise. When we give knowledgeable quizzes or tests, these assessments evaluate participants' understanding of specific concepts. Kids use them in school. You can still use them here. We're probably not giving a grade out, but they're still just as useful and efficient to see what people know. They can be in the form of a multiple choice question, true or false, or short answer question. Number two, skill demonstrations of simulations. These assessments really assess participants' practical skills and their abilities related to their training. Participants may be required to perform a task or demonstrate their proficiency in specific skills. Let's say if you're housekeeping in a hotel and we want to give you some advanced skills, I still need to know that you can do the everyday skills. So I may ask you to take care of a guest room in less than 20 minutes so I can see if you have the proficiency to move on to the next level. Pre-training surveys or questionnaires. These assessments gather information about participants' background, experience, and existing knowledge or skills. These surveys can be conducted through online forms or paper-based questionnaires. Knowledge quiz, a multiple choice, it could be a skill demonstration, it could be you're asking them to do a particular task, or a pre-training survey. It could be a questionnaire like a Google form that collects information about the participants prior to coming, and you want to know what their experience is, what their knowledge is, or what the skills they have. Using technology for this prerequisites assessment. Online assessments or self-paced modules. Participants can complete assessments or interactive modules online to evaluate their knowledge or skills before their training program. These assessments can be assessed through learning management systems or online platforms. I think that probably one of the best things that have ever happened are the Google Forms. And there's so many other, but you can find out so much about anything just by sending these forms out. Virtual simulations or interactive exercises. Technology can now be used to create a virtual simulation or interactive exercise that assesses participants' skills or decision-making abilities. And this includes AI. Today, we can make so many videos with AI. So easy. You don't even have to have anybody acting it out anymore. You can just get a program and just use it. These simulations provide a realistic environment for participants to demonstrate their proficiency. By using prerequisite assessment tools and leveraging technology, trainers can gather information about participants' existing knowledge and skill. This information helps trainers tailor the training program to meet the specific needs of that particular group of participants. So we can't treat all groups the same. Each group is particular. And this is the reason why we go through the effort of trying to find out what they already know, what that gap is once and before I start my training. How do we monitor and evaluate prerequisites? Tracking participants' progress. Regularly assess participants' progress in the meeting of the prerequisites. Provide feedback and guidance for improvement. So, maybe it's learning a particular skill, or maybe it's actually learning a new program, a software program. If they're behind, maybe we can suggest how to go back and just refresh or do it again. There is no shame in really going over something. If time is of the essence, then we may need to ask them to do this on their own time and then monitor again to see if they've been able to catch up. Adjusting training programs based on prerequisite performance. We need to modify the training content or delivery based on participants' needs. So you have a group of 20, and this group of 20, of that, only 18 have never touched a computer before. So, and you need to have people from this group because there's nobody else. So this tells me that I'm going to have to offer something that's going to fill that gap. And then I'm going to have to see if they were able to master that. Because if I bring them in and they're still lost and they don't know how to turn on their computer yet, we're going to waste so much time. So just think about, or we'll just say, hey, everybody in this group needs to start from the ground up, and we can do that. Offer additional support or resources if it is necessary. So let's say the opposite happens. Only 2 people have never used a computer, 18 have. We're not going to actually bring the people that have all the questions in the world because they've never done it before. We're going to use those 2 people. We're going to invite them to a training, and we're going to get them resources so they can actually go up to par with the other 18. Gathering feedback from the participants. So how do we conduct surveys or interviews to gather feedback on the effectiveness of this particular prerequisites training? Ask participants about their experience in meeting the prerequisites and how it has impacted their learning in the training program. So we want to find out if what we did to prepare them was correct, and we're going to do that with surveys or interviews. And we're also going to ask these participants about their particular experience. Did you learn? Did you feel comfortable? Did you feel that you were at the same level as everybody else? Analyzing the training outcome. When you evaluate the impact of the prerequisite on participants' learning outcomes and performance, you will compare the performance of these participants who met the prerequisites with those who did not identify any differences. It's always good to know if you putting the effort to bridge the gap really helped, or they ended up just like everybody else. So what if we realize that it wasn't successful or that we need more? So how do we adjust the prerequisites requirement? Use the feedback and evaluation results to make adjustments to the prerequisite requirement. You need to consider revising or updating the prerequisite criteria to better align with the needs and the capabilities of the participant. Again, so let me say, so you gave them the prerequisites, you brought this pre-training for getting them ready for your training, and you now gave them the assessments. You're going to use that feedback and that evaluation to make adjustments to see if what you initially thought is correct. You're also going to consider revising this because you want to make sure that the capabilities of your participants are at the same level as the training that you're going to be providing. And how do we provide ongoing support? We offer ongoing support and resources to help participants. We can actually recommend, it doesn't have to be you, it doesn't have to be your training organization. You can actually say there's some other groups and you can give 2 or 3 names. You can actually mention books, you can actually mention workshops, or you can actually talk about mentoring opportunities to really address those gaps. So what are the key takeaways in the prerequisites section? Number 1, assessing and addressing the prerequisites gaps. Remember, the gap is what they know and what you're going to teach. What's in between those 2 things, that is a gap, and that's what we want to cover. Monitoring participants' progress. So they went through the prerequisites, you trained them with that. You want to make sure that when they do actually join the real training, they are at the same level. And if not, then you can adjust the training based on their performance. And this is crucial. So the conclusion, a code of conduct and ethics and a prerequisite play a crucial role in training programs by ensuring participant readiness, maximizing learning outcomes, saving time and resources, and enhancing participant engagement and assuring that participants are treated with respect, maintaining their confidentiality, avoiding conflicts of interest, and using inclusive language. By identifying and addressing their prerequisites, trainers can design more effective and targeted training programs that build upon participants' existing knowledge and skills. Clear communication of prerequisites and providing resources for the prerequisite development are essential for ensuring that participants have a necessary foundation to fully engage in the training. So we're talking about these two things. Number one, you want to make sure that as a global trainer, you have a code of conduct and of ethics, and you have a prerequisites. You need to make sure that you know what these are and you take them to every situation where you're going to be developing or designing a training program. This will play a key role in making sure that your program is successful. How do we monitor this? And we do monitoring and evaluating the effectiveness of this prerequisite program by allowing our trainers to continuously improve the process and address any gaps or challenges. Remember, you are a global trainer. So you're going to be training trainers. So if this is a train the trainer, you're not really participating with regular people. So you need to make sure that if these people are going to be training in the future, they need to have the best training possible. And in order for you to provide the best training process possible, you need to know what material you're working with so you can actually help them be ready to absorb what you're explaining. I hope that this topic, I know, like I said before, I know it's a very arid topic. And I know that many, many times it's something that we don't want to talk about because it's not a lot of fun. But the truth is that it is, I would say, the spinal cord of your entire operation. It keeps everything else working, especially when we talk about code of conduct and ethics, right? And ethics doing what we need to do with integrity and making sure that we're being fair and that we are respecting. And the prerequisite part, do they have the skills prior to being the trainer that they have to? So thank you all for giving me this opportunity. Thank you. Thank you. I hope that you all understood. I know it's a little long, but I do hope that it was clear enough and that I was, I wasn't very fast because I think that, like I said before, in training, these are two things that are super important. And many times we just whiz by them and then we don't realize that we're not getting the results we want. So thank you all very much. Thank you.
Superb. Very descriptive and informative presentation by Dr. Virginia. Indeed, amazing it was. Thank you so much. And I think each and every point about the code of conduct as well as perquisites was very briefly explained by you. So certainly it will help all the trainees to implement this when they will go further as a global trainer. I think you all are agreeing with me. And if you have any queries with respect to today's presentation, this amazing session by Dr. Virginia, you are welcome to ask your queries, your doubts. She is there for us. She will solve all your queries. Anyone? Anna, Omenesa, Dr. Mamlan, Mr. Rakesh, Balaji Shankaran sir, Hanan, Meghanathan, please.
Everyone understood. Yay. Thank you all. Very, very happy.
And I feel being a trainer is going to be our first step. We need to be very good in communication skills. Whatever is in our mind, we should be able to express that, right? Then only you can explore the beauty of this session. Anyone, would you like to speak? Anything to be shared for the 4 days, whatever you have grasped or learned? Yeah, anyway, so just to summarize, in this 4 days of global trainers session, we have learned about the needs and requirements of the session, like how you can be the global trainer, the role of the trainer, then setting the SMART goals, like being a trainer, what goals need to be set by us, then how to tackle the challenges. Yesterday, Dr. Srividya have explained us skills for the trainer, what skills are needed. That is also very well elaborated. And today, Dr. Virginia have explained us about ethics and code of conduct in detail. Okay, Balaji Shankaran sir, please say. You have raised your hand.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So it was a very, very informative section by Virginia. Thank you so much. A lot of information about Photo for Net. So being a trainer, it is very, very important. That's the basic foundation of getting yourself into the training zone. So you've given it here. Thank you so much for that.
Thank
All
you.
these 4 days was very good. A lot of inputs, a lot of basic, the foundation was very clear about these 4 days. Like if you're getting into the training fraternity, how important it is for you to be very strong with the foundation. And that's what will take you to a longer run. And that was very clear. So that way, thank you so much for organizing this program. And thank for all the trainers.
Thank you so much, sir. Again, I would like to extend, heartfelt gratitude to our founder, sir, Mr. Advocate Piyush Pandit, sir, who is the creator of this IIU world and who is giving us this opportunity to conduct the training sessions. So I think all the training sessions by IIU, brings the world together. Today also we have people from USA, Puerto Rico, like different parts of the countries, right? So it's indeed a pleasure to have you all over here. Great session by great trainers. Thank you once again, Dr. Virginia, for the wonderful session and sparing your valuable time. And I think anyone else would like to speak out something. We have Dr. Grace also.
This has been very informative. So thank you so much for the training.
Great, great. Thank you, Dr. Grace. Thank you. She is our country director of Cameroon. Welcome. Thanks, Sultan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, madam. Actually, this you're part of the portion in your the today's session. The participants' readiness by giving the pre-training, that is assessment, pre-assessment, conducting awareness among the people, and also interactive course material preparation of interactive course materials, collecting information through questionnaires, surveys. These things will really help us to make the people and participants ready to acquire knowledge through the training. My question is, so apart from the conventional method of learning and preparing the participants to get along with the training sessions, in today's context, the advanced technologies like artificial intelligence and global training technologies, what are all the challenges normally we have to face as a trainer to enhance the learning capability of participants, madam?
Yeah,
Okay,
okay. I can try to answer. Is the question for everybody? Is the question for everybody?
It is a question from the faculty.
Oh,
it's for everyone.
I mean,
I think it's a question for you.
Question.
okay. Oh, yeah,
To
yeah.
go ahead
Okay.
and face the challenge.
Yeah, I can definitely answer. Okay, I know, like for sure, like as somebody from sub-Saharan Africa, like in Cameroon, yes, AI is like the big thing right now in the Western world, but we have basic amenities that we don't even have yet. Like, for example, electricity. For you to have access to AI, you need to have access to the technology, right? You need to have a computer that is powered. You need to have even like your own phone that's a charge so that you can be able to use it. So we just still have like a lot of basic challenges that we need to overcome before we can start even thinking about AI technology. My biggest fear as a college professor at the moment is here in the United States, students have been caught plagiarizing because they're using ChatGPT, for example, to write their papers. In countries like Cameroon, where some of the models to be able to fight, like if I can say, like the educators who want to fight back against cheating, we don't have that yet. For example, back in the day, we used to use Turnitin. You type your paper, the professor sends it automatically to this system that can trace back where you borrowed information. But now with AI technology, we need to be able to have access to software as educators that we can use when our students, they turn in these papers, these theses, and we can be able to compare and detect which part of the assignment you have in front of your eyes was written by, if I can say, human brain power, and which other part is used by computer, by AI technology. So I think that's going to be a very big challenge coming up. I mean, at the office, even now, the office, sometimes you have like a report to send to your supervisor. You want it to sound a little bit more professional. You use AI technology. Even on Facebook, those of us who are still on Facebook, when you're putting your status, Facebook now has the ability to show you how to make it inspirational, how you can make it professional, how you can make it heartfelt, your message, how you can make it funny. But in the world of academia, that's very dangerous. It's very dangerous. It means that our students are not going to be using their brain power to their fullest potential, because now they have access to artificial intelligence to write their papers. So to me, that's going to be the biggest challenge in the world of education. How to separate work from AI technology that was borrowed and work that came straight out of brain power, like genuine work from a student. In the US, we are struggling with it, but I'm scared. I'm scared for developing countries, because sometimes we don't even have the money to buy the proper softwares to be able to offer the best, if I can call it, la quality of service in our schools, let alone now we have to deal with artificial intelligence. To me, it's exciting and it's scary, extremely scary at the same time. So that's my answer.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Yeah, great. Dr. Mamlan and Dr. Grace, both of you are great. So I think it's the time to say bye. In the next 5 minutes, I shall be sharing your e-certificates with you. And herein, I take the pleasure to declare you all as a global certified trainer by the International Internship University. So
Thank you.
Congratulations. Congratulations, you all.
Thank you.
and
We
stay
graduated.
tuned.
Congratulations, all of
Yeah,
you.
stay tuned with
Congratulations.
us for more such courses. Be a part of IIU. Be the trainer, be the learner with us. So together we can join our hands and change or bring the change in the worldwide education. Great. Thank you so much to everyone. Once again, good night, good morning, good evening to all our worldwide trainees. Okay, now I should say all our global trainers, not the trainees,
Yes.
because now you all are the trainers, right? Okay.
Correct.
Yes,
Great,
thank you.
great. Okay, bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
so
you,
much.
Virginia.
Bye.
Thank you so
You're
much all.
welcome.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you,
See
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.